Welcome into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube and KSL NewsRadio. I am your BYU insider, Mitch Harper. It's Thursday, August 28th. We're 2 days away until BYU football kicks off against the Portland State Vikings to open the 2025 season. We'll dive into that game a little bit more. Also, you'll hear interviews with Cody Hagen and Taumoepeau. So let's jump right in with the top story.
The top story of the day. The biggest story in the world of BYU sports right here on Cougar Tracks.
Officially a sellout. BYU versus Portland State is officially a sellout, that according to BYU. So any tickets, if you want to go to the game on Saturday night at 6 p.m., you've got to go on the secondary market to get those tickets. But BYU officially announced that sellout on Thursday. So it's going to be an electric atmosphere for BYU and Portland State. And for all the fans that will be in attendance for Saturday's game, BYU did announce some new game day information. There's going to be new AI-powered concession checkouts in two stadium areas, the lower east side and upper west side of the stadiums. Cameras will identify items selected for a faster checkout time. How about that? There will be 4 new fan-friendly pricing concession stands this year, and also a gluten-free dedicated stand too. But AI is even infiltrating concession stands at college football games. So some new game day updates for BYU fans at LaVell Edwards Stadium this year. But I have a feeling that a lot of games this year are going to be sold out. The interest in BYU football has been off the charts this year. Highest number of season tickets sold this year. BYU has a ton of interest, and we know, of course, with BYU basketball, those season tickets were gone in an instant. The whole arena is season tickets this year. Everything's going to have to go to the secondary market if you want to get into BYU basketball games this year. So good times from a revenue and ticket sales perspective for BYU these days. And this matchup between BYU and Portland State, it's a body bag game. It's a money game for Portland State. They have not hid that fact. It's even in the game notes, as you heard this week with the associate AD and director of football communications. This is what Portland State does. They finance their football program through this. Portland State head coach Bruce Barnum actually talked about the payday from BYU for this game with John Canzano in the Bald Truth podcast. And this was Bruce Barnum on how much they are getting paid from BYU to play this game.
Play Oregon State, and all of a sudden they came in and told me I was playing.
What's BYU paying for this game? What does Tarleton pay for? What's Hawaii paying? Are you making $1 million by playing those 3 games, or what is the total?
Yes. The BYU, when I was everything went haywire somehow with all the rescheduling and realignment. Yeah. John, I believe I was supposed to play Oregon State, and all of a sudden they came in and told me I was playing BYU. So we got a little, and they don't give me all the numbers. They take it and, hide it in the coffee can sometimes. But I know we got a little from Oregon State. I think this one's up closer to 6-7.
Yeah, I think it's 650. This one's 650.
Yeah. 650 for BYU to pay to Portland State to play this game. Very interesting there. And these are big money games for Portland State. That's going to help finance their athletic department. But if you notice there from Barney Ball, Bruce Barnum, the head coach of the Vikings, he said 6-7. Why do I bring that up? That popular trend from Gen Alpha. 6-7. BYU football has been clip farming us this week, I'm convinced. 6-7, they've been subtly referencing in media availabilities leading up to this Portland State game. Maybe Bruce Barnum's in on it too, saying 6-7. Here's BYU coaches and players getting in on the clip farming.
That you have more than just 3 backers that can play. We have, 6 to 7 backers that can play at one time.
It's kind of funny because when we started to do that, he was 6 or 7 at the time, and
we have 6 or 7 guys that I think I would consider starters. And,
They got 6 or 7 starters. Kalani, you can play 6 to 7 linebackers at one time. 6, 7. I should make a Instagram reel. Is BYU clip farming us? Kalani Sitake, Aaron Roderick, and Tiger Bachmeier. They're talking about 6, 7. Have the ding in the background. 6, 7. Look, I even got the 6, 7. 6, 7 water, baby. Look at that. 6, 7 water. Taylon Kinney. Speaking of him, Taylon Kinney, people that have no clue about this 6, 7 stuff right now, they're probably just like, what are you even talking about? Taylon Kinney, he's a great basketball recruit. I've honestly wanted KY and crew to get involved and recruit Taylon Kinney because the content, 6, 7, the 6, 7 water. But I'm convinced Kalani and crew have been clip farming us this entire week. Clip farming at BYU. I got to think that there was some challenge. Hey, work in 6, 7 somehow into your press conferences with the media. Please do it. Because Kalani, again, listen to Kalani again.
That you have more than just 3 backers that can play. We have 6 to 7 backers that can play at one time.
It's kind of funny because when we started to do that, he was 6 or 7 at the time, and
we have 6 or 7 guys that I think I would consider starters.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I just need to get that voice down. Is BYU clip farming? You know a guy that's not clip farming? He's all business. And he does it with little to no fanfare. But he's going to be a really good player for BYU this season. He's John Taumoepeau. He's a co-captain on this BYU football team. Heading into his senior year. And last season, didn't play much. He had some limited opportunities. The Baylor game, the Kansas State game, he got some significant snaps. He's going to have a big workload this year. It's a young, inexperienced line outside of Keanu Tanavasa, but John Taumoepeau is going to be a good one for the Cougars. This is my conversation with JT at BYU football practice this week. Here with John Taumoepeau, getting ready for BYU versus Portland State. And John, how did it feel to be named a co-captain by your teammates?
Oh, man, it was a blessing. It was such an honor just to know the guys, they trust you and they love you, and just to know that they see you as a leader. He is a man that represents the culture and the standard of the school, so it was such a blessing just to be named co-captain.
What's the responsibilities that come with being a co-captain in the leadership team?
I think every day for me, just being myself, who I was, because that's how I got co-captain. By just being myself, I feel like bringing the energy and the enthusiasm and just living that way every single day. Just coming ready to practice, having the same attitude, the same discipline. So, yeah.
I want to take a step back. How does a guy from Renton, Washington, end up at Snow College and then BYU? What's been the journey for JT?
I think the journey just putting down my head and working. Obviously, it was very difficult going to JUCO. I think a lot of JUCO boys know that it's not an easy route. It's a very hard route, and that I just put my head down and I worked my butt off to get where I am today. And is very blessed for that journey because it has taught me a lot of great things about life and football that's coming that long way.
You grew up in Washington, though, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I did. Love Washington. They always say that's a state with a lot of hoopers and a lot of basketball players, but we always got a lot of football players come out of there, too.
Did you grow up watching BYU football or have any connections to BYU at all growing up?
No, sir. The funny thing, the only team I knew about and BYU was actually Utah Utes. So that was only the team I knew about in Utah. I was always an Oregon fan growing up with DeAnthony Thomas, Marcus Mariota. I just loved their swag. So I was always an Oregon fan. A lot of people mad at me because they asked me why I was a UW fan. But I loved Oregon growing up. But I'm happy I found this place, and I'm happy where I am.
When you say Utah, I think back, any relation to
Go right here.
any relation to PETA, Taumoepeau?
Oh, yes. I know we're long-distance cousins and all that stuff, but, man, just watching that guy grow up and seeing that last name on his back, and, man, just how great of a pass rusher he was. I always wanted to be like him playing with all poly D-line and having that culture over there. It was awesome to watch him growing up.
Your time here at BYU, so when you're at Snow College, I remember you were kind of known as a guy that could generate a pass rush from the interior. But I remember, though, it took a year for you to get enrolled. Was there a gray shirt year in between? And maybe what was the challenge of waiting an extra year to actually be part of this program?
Yeah, it was a gray shirt year. It was a very difficult time. Just watching all the boys out there play and stuff, and knowing that I can't be out there and stuff. But, man, they always say God has a plan for you. They always say God tells you to be patient, and I trusted in the Lord and knew that I had to sit out that season, and it was very tough. I've never been away from football for a season, so having that season being away from football, it has taught me a lot, and very grateful to still be here, and yeah.
That patience, though, is paying off. You're going into week one as a starter.
Yeah.
How excited are you to be a key piece alongside Keanu Tanavasa on this defensive line?
Man, it's very blessed. I feel like coming off of last year, this year, I knew what my goal was to be this year. I knew that I wanted to be one of the key players this year, and I knew that I wanted to start, and I knew that I want to make a lot of big plays and have a lot of big goals this year. Just being named starter, I think it's really not surprising to me. All fall camp, all spring ball and stuff, work my tail off to be where I am and the position I am in.
What's the difference between your position that's listed on the depth chart as just tackle and then Keanu at nose? What are the differences in, like, maybe the philosophy that Coach Buha expects from you guys?
To be honest, there's really no difference. Me and Keanu, we play nose and tackle. So me and him, we just slide back and forth from the 3 to the nose. I go to nose, he goes to 3. He goes to nose, I go to 3. So we're able to adapt to any position we're put in. If we're put in that center or we're playing tackle, I feel like we both play very well at both positions, and we're just able to be mobile at both positions.
And how do you feel like you would describe your game for people that maybe somehow missed that big sack at Baylor or some of the plays that you made last year? How would you describe your style of play?
I feel like I would describe it violently, but with a smile on my face. I come to play. I'm a guy who loves the game, but just loves to hit. Loves play very violently. Love to talk trash a little bit, but I'm always going to do it happy, and I'm always going to do it with a smile on my face.
A couple more moments here with JT. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
You've been going up against BYU's offense for weeks now.
Yeah.
What's your impression of Bear and how he's performed? Because that's a big talking point these days.
Love Bear. First off, love his name, love his personality, love everything he brings to the team and brings to the field. For him to go against our defense every day, our defense moves around in coverage. Our D-line is always moving, always slanting and stuff. So for him to come in and just be able to adapt to that offense and make big plays during practice against our defense, I think it was something really cool to see.
Well, John, best of luck this season. Stay healthy. And just last thing, the expectations for what was the number one defense last year, what can you guys be this season?
I think we're going to up that. I think we're trying to be top 10, not even a top 5 defense in nationally. And, of course, love all the boys last year and love all the role models we had and all the seniors we had last year. But I think we're going to be a better defense this year than we was last year.
Well, stay healthy, JT, and looking forward to this season, your senior campaign.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you so much.
That's John Taumoepeau. Great stuff from JT. Great dude, and you could tell the emotion. It's something that gets emotional when you don't have football for a year. Remember, he came from Snow College, had to sit out a year, wait, and then join the BYU program last season. But you don't want to pull for people in this business. You don't want to have favorites, if you will. But it's hard not to get excited for the prospects of John Taumoepeau, JT, on this squad. He's going to be a really good player playing that DT spot for this BYU defensive line. Let's take a break. On the other side, I'll get to my week 1 Big 12 picks. Loaded slate in week 1 as football season is here. Take that time out, and then week 1 Big 12 picks next here on Cougar Tracks. Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on KSL Sports YouTube and KSL News Radio. And right now, it's time to give some picks for the Big 12 Conference.
Big 12 picks. In the deepest conference in America, anything can happen. Mitch tries to tell you what will happen next. It's his Big 12 picks. Big 12 picks.
Every single week, giving you the picks in the Big 12 Conference. And keep in mind, this week rolled out year 3 of First and 12. Myself and Alex Curie, we host a weekly Big 12 football show on KSL News Radio, Tuesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Just search First and 12 wherever you get your podcast, and you will see that podcast feed. So highly recommend you go listen to that. It's just a deep dive look into the 16-team Big 12. But we'll roll through these games for week 1 as tonight. UCF takes on Jacksonville State, 5 p.m. on ESPN+. UCF, I kind of got near the bottom of the Big 12. Huge transition year for the Knights. Scott Frost's first season as the head coach. I'm going to go with UCF, but Jacksonville State is a very good FBS program. I know they're in a transition after losing Rich Rodriguez to West Virginia, but they were one of the best teams, if not the best team, in Conference USA last season, but I'll still go with the Knights tonight. Oklahoma State hosts UT Martin. Oklahoma State is so hard to predict. They could be 6-6, maybe 7-5 on the high end. Maybe they could be 2-10. There's so much new with Oklahoma State. Former TCU transfer Hosh Henji, he is their starting quarterback. So we'll see how that goes in Stillwater. But the Pokes get it done against UT Martin. Houston versus Stephen F. Austin tonight at 6 o'clock. Houston's very interesting to me. Connor Wegman at quarterback. Willie Fritz. I have a lot of belief in Willie Fritz. And you see what they're doing in recruiting, like BYU. Big uptick with a 5-star quarterback in their 2026 cycle. Bright days ahead for Houston football. You just wonder, do they have the fan interest to really lift it up in the rev share era? But they're doing some nice work with Willie Fritz, and I'm really intrigued to see what they become this season. But they'll take down Stephen F. Austin. And then tonight, the showcase game, I think, Cincinnati versus Nebraska in KC, 7 p.m. This one's tough. Nebraska, to me, could be a playoff team this year. So if Cincinnati won this game, be a massive win for Scott Satterfield, who I believe is going into this year make or break season. He's got to get to at least, I think, 7 wins, at least. Cincinnati's a better football team than they've been the past couple of years. You know, Brendan Sorsby, they got some good wide receivers, some co-starters there on the depth chart at wide receiver, but they got some underrated transfer portal guys who could make up some of the best receiver units in the Big 12. I'm going to go with Nebraska, but I think this is going to be close and go down to the wire. Nebraska, for whatever reason, over the last decade has had issues in week 1 where they always have these close calls, and even BYU gave them an L in week 1 years ago, 10 seasons ago. But I'm going to say Nebraska comes out on top, but I think we come away from this game feeling pretty good about Cincinnati and what they can become this season. Friday night slate, Kansas versus Wagner. Kansas looked great last week. Jalen Daniels, keep that going. Kansas rolls against Wagner. Whenever you hear Wagner, you think of, are you like me and think of the BYU-Wagner game in 2015 when BYU put up a 70-piece? Baylor versus Auburn. I cannot wait for this game. 6 o'clock kick on Fox. This is a huge game for the Big 12. Baylor has got to get this one. Auburn and Baylor, both, could be boomer bust teams this season. I think this Baylor squad with Josh Cameron, Sawyer Robertson, I'm kind of curious if Sawyer Robertson is a guy that's taking more deep shots this year, but Baylor, I think they get it done. I do. I think they get it done on a Friday night blackout game, drone show, chrome helmets. I'm going to go with Baylor to take down Auburn, but I do think Auburn could be a surprise 9-win team this year. I think, again, both teams, boom or bust. It is no in between with either of these squads. They could be at the top of their leagues or they're at the cellar. Fascinating matchup to open up week 1. Colorado, Georgia Tech on Friday night, 6 o'clock kick on ESPN. Caden Salter, the Liberty transfer, he gets the nod as QB1 over heralded freshman Juju Lewis. No surprise there. These are two teams. Remember, they were the co-national titles back in 1990. Coach Prime, great to see Coach Prime doing okay, back on the sideline. I'm going to go with Colorado. I think they're a tough out at home. I think Colorado gets this one done. I'm going to go with the Buffs here at this spot. I think their offensive line is going to be better led by Jordan Seaton. I think their defensive line as well. Saturday slate's kind of light, honestly. A lot of FCS, FBS games. West Virginia, they debut for Rich Rod against Robert Morris. Mountaineers win that one. Iowa State against South Dakota. Huge win last week for Iowa State. And look, maybe it's just a little bit of Iowa State going back to what they've been in the past. Last year, it was pass heavy with two talented receivers. Maybe it's going back to what they were before that. So with the Breece Hall days and things like that. So Iowa State looked really good in K-State, in Dublin against K-State. Sloppy game, yes, but Iowa State off to a good start. I think they continue that against South Dakota, against the Yotes. Now, on the flip side, Kansas State was a mess, both on and off the field. Avery Johnson's dad, that whole debacle. Then you got Ireland, the rain. What a mess. To where, are they going to have that Ireland hangover after losing that one? Seems like last 2 years, Florida State lost and Nebraska, the season's kind of tailspinned for those teams. I don't expect K-State to suddenly go 5-7 this year. They'll win this week against North Dakota, but a little bit concerning, especially with Dylan Edwards out this week as well, the running back. I will go K-State against North Dakota, but Wildcats, I'm very curious to see how they kind of improve going forward this season. Number 23, Texas Tech against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Tech rolls. I'm high on the Red Raiders. They're going to get that one. BYU versus Portland State. BYU's going to win that game. I'll give you my score prediction tomorrow on the show. Arizona State versus Northern Arizona. Arizona State defending Big 12 champs. They roll in that one on ESPN+. And then Arizona against Hawaii, 8:30 kick on TNT. TNT's really leaning into the Big 12. I think it's kind of interesting development. No NBA for TNT Sports anymore. They're going into Big 12 football. Last year, they were dabbling with the Mountain West. This year, a lot of Big 12 content. Kind of curious to see the coverage of Big 12 football on TNT, which I always thought was a great product with the NBA. I think everyone agrees with that. NBA games on TNT were always the best. And that level of quality and production on college football in the Big 12, I'm curious to see how that goes. But I'm going to go with Arizona to win. Hawaii got a big win last week over Stanford. Wildcats, they're going to be much improved this year. I think they're going to be fighting for bowl eligibility. They could be a 7-win team this season. Utah at UCLA, 9 p.m. on Fox. This is a good game. I think that Utah, I have some questions about their defensive line. I do. And the secondary doesn't have, maybe outside of Smith-Snowden, doesn't have the star power like we've grown accustomed to on Utah's secondary. Offense should be better. Dampier, will he take care of the football? I just think there's some questions. No one's seen practices. It's just been completely closed off, so it's a little bit of a mystery. And first games are always a crapshoot. They just are. I think Utah wins because I think UCLA, a lot of unknowns too. And I think Deshaun Foster's the right guy for that program, but it's maybe more nostalgia-based because he was a legend at UCLA. We'll see how it goes for the Bruins. It's been very secretive out there in Westwood, too. So two teams that have just put their walls up. Now we actually get to see how they play. I'll go with the Utes barely by a field goal in the Rose Bowl. And then Monday night, TCU at North Carolina. I'm all in on TCU. I think Josh Hoover is just dynamite. I think that this team's going to be excellent. Joseph Manjack at wide receiver. I like the Horned Frogs to take down and spoil Chapel Bill Belichick, and Jordan Hudson's debut in Tobacco Road in the Triangle. So give me the Horned Frogs to get it done. So that's my Big 12 picks for the week. Let's take our final timeout. And on the other side, I'll play my interview with BYU wide receiver Cody Hagen right here on Cougar Tracks.
BYU football getting ready for Portland State to open up the 2025 season, and joined now by sophomore wide receiver Cody Hagen. And Cody, how rewarding has the BYU experience been thus far for you? And I bring that up because you had just so many opportunities when you were coming out of high school. You could have gone pretty much anywhere you wanted. How's the BYU experience been thus far for you?
Yeah, it's been good. Great coaches, great family here. It's a really good atmosphere, great players to surround yourself with. So it's a great program, and why not be here, right? It feels great, and coming into the second year, definitely feel a lot more seasoned, a lot more ready for the season. So,
and when you talk about great players, I'm curious, BYU's well-versed in having guys that come back from missions, maybe speak different languages. You speak Mandarin, correct?
Yeah. I spoke English and Mandarin a little bit on my mission. So.
Do you have any teammates that also speak Mandarin?
Tiger actually speaks a little bit. I think that's it, though. Yeah.
You and Tiger ever chop it up in Mandarin a little bit, maybe to especially this week when the games are going, you can confuse the opponent.
We should. That's a good thing. We should. We'll plan some of that.
Well, what is a locker room like here at BYU? Because I think that's an underrated aspect here in this program. Is there's so many different walks of life than. On the outside, people think it's just all just return missions, but there's a lot of different cultures and backgrounds in this program.
Yeah, no, just like you're saying, there's a lot of variety, and it's great to learn from each other and just be there for each other through any circumstance. So it's good.
How challenging has it been to learn this offense for you now, year two? You said that there's been improvement, but how much more comfortable maybe do you feel now in this offense?
Much more comfortable for sure. Last year, first year here, it's definitely quick. It's fast-paced. There's a lot of moving parts compared to a high school offense. But definitely your second year here, you're feeling a lot more comfortable and have the playbook down pretty well. So
I think that's noteworthy too, because you were at Corner Canyon, which Coach Kerr, runs a big-time program. Produced great offense, numbers, quarterbacks, but there's still kind of a transition where it's a learning curve at Power 4 level.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Kerr's offense, there's definitely a lot of volume. There's a lot of plays to pick from. I feel like it's a little more complicated, a little more. College is just always going to be more, right? You got more time to learn it. So.
This past spring, you were kind of dealing with an injury. What was that, and just how are you now feeling health-wise going into week one?
Yeah. So had it happen last year. Was trying to fight through it through the end of the season, spring ball.
ASU game, right?
Around that time. Ended up getting surgery. But I've done all of summer workouts, all of fall camp. So I felt 100% for a while now. So really, really good. Don't even notice it.
How just when you talk about the comfort level, do you feel like you're back to that speed that you had, pre-surgery and injury? Just feel back to who you were as a player when you were in high school?
Yeah, it definitely feels good to get off of that mission, get rid of that mission body you accumulate, right? Get back to where you were before, and I feel just as fast, if not faster, definitely stronger than I was.
Was that post-mission tougher than you thought it would be?
Yeah, and I think everyone coming back from mission is eager to get back to football, but your body may not be as ready as you think. So definitely it was still good learning opportunity, learned the offense really well, but feel 10 times better right now.
Great makeup of talent in this wide receiver room. And again, talk with Cody Hagen. What skills do you bring to this wide receiver? Because you got Chase, you've got JoJo, you mentioned Tiger, Parker, there's so much depth at this position. What do you bring to the group?
Yeah, I think a big thing that I'll be used for is kind of deep routes, speed, jet sweeps. But the goal is for everyone in the room, that's why FSU recruits us, is just to be a well-rounded receiver. So the goal is for everyone to be able to do everything. So no matter where you are in the field, when you come back, maybe you go over here, over there, it doesn't really matter. He wants you to be able to work anywhere. So
I got to ask you, your dad played baseball, I believe it was Pittsburgh Pirates. Did you have kind of a multi-sport upbringing when you were growing up?
Yeah, he had us do everything. Every sport you can name we were doing until high school. Then we kind of picked our few we wanted to focus on and then went from there. So, but we were doing a lot of sports for sure.
Has your dad leaned into the blue? Because he was a former Utah player.
Yeah, no, definitely. As soon as we committed here, he was all go. And he didn't mind where, he wanted us to be here anyway, so he was happy with our decision.
You happy with your brother being here back as in the QB room?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's nothing better, you know what I mean?
It's last couple things here for you, Cody. Just thoughts on what this offense accomplished in camp, getting ready now for the season.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of improvements, really, with every group. It's great to see us get more comfortable with Bear, McKay, those guys getting more consistent with everyone, getting on the same page. So I think a big part offensively, we've been able to get in the same rhythm with the QB, with the line. So we're really excited for the season.
What has impressed you with Bear?
Just pure athleticism. He's game time. He's a baller. He's probably the most competitive guy, one of, if not the, on the team. So he's fun to be with. He's fun to be around.
Well, Cody, it's been a blast seeing you in fall camp, back to full speed. Looking forward to this season, sophomore campaign for you, and stay healthy, and looking forward to a big year for you.
Thanks, Mitch.
That's Cody Hagen, BYU wide receiver, very excited about his future at BYU. He's got a bright one. He's going to be a really good player for the Cougars. He is a name to watch. That potential is going to start to be realized this year. I really believe that. I think Hagen is going to be excellent for the Cougars in the future. And I think, Chase Roberts is this year, wide receiver 1. Next season, JoJo, Cody Hagen. I think that could be a really good duo for the Cougars going forward. But that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Coming up tomorrow, Game Day Eve. Give you my score prediction, in-depth breakdown of the matchup, key matchups to watch, key stats. We'll go deep dive here on Cougar Tracks. And then, oh, by the way, special edition Thursday night, 6 p.m. on KSL NewsRadio. Going to have a 1-hour special edition Cougar Tracks on KSL NewsRadio. So listen to that. It'll also be on the podcast feed too, but be on the lookout for that. So talk to you tomorrow here on Cougar Tracks.